Going back to these photovoltaic cells, their purpose are what? To produce electricity at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are able to convert the light of the sun, photons, directly into electrical voltage. So when you connect them to a circuit, it can drive an electrical current. A direct conversion of light into electricity.
And this means then, this is more efficient, is it, than photosynthesis from plants?
A bit.
A bit.
Yeah, it was amazing when I studied it. So there is also a conversion from the light to the growth of plants.
That's still going to be the dominant feature in the agricultural sector.
Yeah.
So technology is not going to supplement any of that.
Cannot be. But when you look in detail, the efficiency of the conversion of light into, on the one hand, the green plants, and on the other hand, the electricity, the photovoltaic cells are a bit more efficient.
So I'm living in a quite rural area in Germany, and there are a lot of farmers around me. And what they did over the last 10 years is moving more into corn, into things that generate biofuels, basically. And there's a lot of debate about it in the public. Should we invest more into photovoltaic rather than, you know, growing plants in order to generate fuel?
That's a big question. My view is do it directly to electricity and use that electricity to do other things as well. The step using the plants and then burn the plants, so it's a bit old-fashioned.
But I mean, look at the deforestation in parts of the world. This surely is very, very negative to the whole process.
Sure. We should keep the plants. We should keep the plants because the plants are not just producers of energy, but also regulate the climate and, well.
Well, we'll come to climate change. But I mean, agriculture is one of the key features of most economies. Are we deploying the right initiatives for the agricultural sector?
That's a very hard question, very hard question. Perhaps we should continue to do it because it's a source of food. We cannot eat electricity.
So electricity is still going to be a fundamental source of energy?
It is, yeah.
It is the source, I suppose.
And photovoltaic, I mean, looking out of the window today in beautiful Arnhem, it's dusty, so most likely photovoltaic here in our regions will not be most efficient. Those where we have the sun and the energy of the sun are those countries where we do not have the heavy industry. So somehow we must be able to capture energy in batteries or whatsoever, or in other forms, move it to our industrial countries and use it there, which is a bit of a problem, isn't it?
It is, but then I should add that the solar, as well, the photons, the solar light, is not the only source of energy we have or can use. I want to speak a bit about the nuclear production of energy. That's an enormous source which we can use.
Well, we can come to it now. I mean, you had a problem with Kima, didn't you? The power generation company, now owned, I think, by a Norwegian undertaking. What was the issue with Kima?
Not only in Holland, but in the whole Western world. The whole world, after roughly 1945, was wanting to change the energy system and use nuclear energy as the fundamental source of power.
Right.
And then it turned out it had a military side, which is scaring to people, but also there are safety problems involved with it, and it can go wrong.
Right.
There are things like Three Mile Island problem in the United States, we have Chernobyl, and in Japan recently.
So what was the problem there?
The problem, the basic problem in the designs of most reactors is that the power density is high, too high to be safe. If it is so high, then the products of the fission products, uranium is split and you have fragments, they are all radioactive.
Right.
So when you stop the fission reaction, you want to stop the reactor,
Yeah.
you still have left those products which are inside the reactor. There is a residual heat, a kind of heat of the ash,
Right.
and that can be so intense that it will melt the reactor. Even if you have switched it off,
So you've got to actually
then it
keep
is
the
still
cooling.
producing heat.
You've got to keep cooling.
You've got to keep cooling if you have switched it off, but if you are not able to cool the reactor
Right.
for a long period, it will heat up and it will melt.
Right.
And that's a serious problem associated with the fact that it has a high power density. So for economic reasons, these reactors have not been built, but they are intrinsically safe.
Now you had one in the Netherlands, didn't you? Was it Pebble?
Yeah, well, we contributed, but it was a German development. It was in Jülich.
What was it called? Pebble?
Pebble bed reactor.
So
it was intrinsically safe reactor, but it was more expensive than the high density power reactors.
And that, so presumably most people, I mean, the UK are building a new power station at Hinkley. I believe it will be one of these high density
Yeah,
structures.
Yeah.
But I suppose cost is the major factor.
of course.
Are you still in favour broadly of the production of energy with nuclear?
Yes, provided it should have a low power density.
And if it
They are
doesn't,
costly, but they are intrinsically safe. If we want to continue with nuclear, we should make the step to the low power density systems.
Nevertheless, I mean, nuclear power has such a negative reputation in public.
Yeah.
Our Chancellor Angela Merkel, she decided after Fukushima very quickly for Germany to move out of energy production out of nuclear power stations.
Yeah.
On the other hand side, we know in terms of logistics, some submarines or aircraft carriers are still driven by nuclear power.
Yeah.
So would you see a future almost for nuclear power in means of transportation?
Yes, yes, yes. Provided you have the low power density system.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.